Paul Heyman does not believe that AJ Lee is in the league of the greatest women's wrestler of all time. And guess what? Neither does Fog Wrestling. But the same applies with Becky Lynch. Welcome back, guys, to the channel. Paul Heyman might not think that AJ Lee is the greatest, and I'm okay with that. I accept that. I agree with that. But I'm not going to listen to this bullshit, this brainwashing that somehow Becky Lynch is the greatest female of all time. So we're going to look at some of the comments with Paul Heyman. Some people will say, well, he's in character and this and that. And I get it. To an extent, he is in character, but he's still trying to tell us that Becky's the greatest of all time, and this is getting pushed a lot, even with Becky Lynch saying it on TV, and again, people will say, well, that's character work, but they are trying to rewrite history. They are trying to tell you that Becky Lynch is the greatest, and we see it all the time. How many times do we see lists with WWE? It's all propaganda bullshit. How many times do we see lists from WWE, and they'll, show you, the top 25 SmackDown moments of all time, and 20 out of the 25 are moments that have happened in the last 3 years, and you're like, bull fucking shit. Not one moment. If you looked at the greatest 25 SmackDown moments in the history of the brand, not one of the greatest moments would have happened in the last 5 years. Not one. I mean, they probably all happened in the Attitude Era and Ruthless Aggression Era. I mean, could you maybe find one in the PG Era or the Reality Era or whatever? I mean, maybe, but realistically, no. So we're going to look at Paul Heyman's comments. Also, there's been some comments from people in TNA, and they're not happy with the way that the company is being treated under NXT. Some people are also saying, oh, this is a work, it's character stuff, and that might be true, and I think it is, but that doesn't change the fact that what they're saying is actually true. These TNA wrestlers are coming out and saying that TNA is getting treated like, basically saying that TNA is getting treated like shit by NXT and WWE. Now, it might be a work, but that doesn't mean that their statements are incorrect. What they're saying is true. TNA has been treated like a joke. TNA has been treated like the ugly stepchild by WWE and NXT, and we'll look at those comments in a minute. But Paul Heyman, when talking with Stephen A. Smith on ESPN's The First Take. If you don't know, guys, WWE PLEs, they're on ESPN, so you're going to have to pay $30 a month to watch this shite. But anyway, back to what Heyman had to say. He was referring to AJ Lee teaming up with CM Punk against Seth Rollins and Becky Lynch at WrestlePalooza, and he basically said that AJ Lee shouldn't be in there, and that the match should be CM Punk and Seth Rollins. Now, you can say, well, it's just character work, but he's actually correct. I've been saying this. This mixed tag match should not be on the show. It should be CM Punk versus Seth Rollins for the world title. That's the match. Everybody knows it. It doesn't matter if Paul Heyman's saying it in character. What he's saying is true. What he's saying is correct. It shouldn't be AJ Lee, and she's been shoehorned in here. If AJ Lee wants to be on the card, then she should face Becky Lynch for the Intercontinental title. This mixed tag match should have happened on Raw, or it should have happened on SmackDown, or it should have happened on free TV, and then you give us the 2 single title matches at the PLE, where you pay money to see title matches. That should be how it works, but WWE, backwards. They think they're giving you a mixed tag match. They think that's worth paying for. It's like, no, that should be on free TV. But anyway, this is what Paul Heyman said to Stephen A. Smith on ESPN. He said, quote, I actually think this is a complete misuse of CM Punk's family. To be very honest with you, I don't think AJ Lee is in the league of the greatest women's wrestler of all time, Becky Lynch, the first woman to ever main event WrestleMania and win. By the way, she won the match. She didn't just main event it. She won the match against Ronda and Charlotte Flair. I think it should simply be Seth Rollins versus CM Punk, and the loser keeps AJ Lee, end of quote. Obviously, with the loser probably being CM Punk. But Paul Heyman's right with that, though. He is correct. Even though he's speaking in character, the match should be Seth Rollins versus CM Punk. The title should be on the line. And AJ Lee and Becky Lynch really don't need to be there. I mean, they could be at ringside. Yeah, why not? Why not each of them be at ringside supporting their man? For sure, do that. Absolutely. But the title should be on the line. The world title is supposed to be the most important thing in this company. But yet you've got these two women being added into the feud. And I'm not saying don't add them into the feud. Of course they can be added into the feud. Of course they can have a mixed tag match. but that should be on free TV. That shouldn't be at the expense of the world title being defended. Like, why the fuck would CM Punk want to team up with his wife instead of getting a one-on-one match for the championship with Seth Rollins? It doesn't make sense. Now, you can argue, but they'll do it at the next one. Yeah, so what? They're just going to drag everything out? You know, it's bullshit. Honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if we get Team Punk versus Team Rollins at Survivor Series. They're going to drag this out forever and forever, and then maybe at Mania they'll give you Punk versus Seth Rollins. I wouldn't be surprised if they do drag this out for like another 6 months at least. That's how bad WWE is. Every story has to last almost a year because I don't think they've got anything else. When Triple H finally has something, he's like, oh, right, well, let's make this last as long as we can. Let's drag this out for as long as we can. Let's milk this for as much as we can. It's like, no, why don't you just try and give us 1 month of good fucking television, get to the pay-per-view, have the match, and then move on and give us something else. But no, it's just the same shit week after week, month after month. It sucks. Anyway, I agree with Paul Heyman. AJ Lee's not that good, but guess what? Neither is Becky Lynch. And honestly, I would put AJ Lee above Becky Lynch in an all-time list. I would. In terms of an all-time female wrestling list, I think that AJ Lee was better than Becky Lynch. Now, Becky Lynch, she had that whole push in 2018 where she was like the top person, or 2019, they were almost promoting her as the new face of the company, and it was sickening. She didn't deserve it. She also got the big feud with Ronda Rousey, the WrestleMania match at 35, when Charlotte had to, you know, throw herself in there because she's Charlotte Flair, the daughter of Rick. Woo! But, I mean, I'm not basing it on who's had the better career. I'm basing it on who I prefer as a female wrestler in terms of in-ring, in terms of microphone and promo ability, and in terms of hotness. And I think that AJ Lee beats Becky Lynch in all three categories. So there you go. That's my opinion. Give me your opinion down below, and if you don't agree, then fuck it. Right, let's talk about TNA then. So multiple wrestlers have come out publicly and expressed their displeasure over at WWE NXT. I think this will lead to like a multi-man match with TNA taking on WWE NXT. But it doesn't change the fact that what these TNA guys are saying is true. Despite it being a so-called work, TNA has been prostituted by WWE. This is not an equal partnership. TNA has been embarrassed. We've seen the WWE NXT people win the TNA World title, win the TNA Women's World title. We haven't seen TNA people win WWE titles, and it's happened with AAA already. You know, you've got Dominic winning the AAA title. You had those two Mexican jobbers from Legado del Fantasma. They won the Mexican AAA tag team titles. You've even got Natalia, a fucking jobber who hasn't won a match in WWE for about 20 years. Even she is beating people in AAA. It's like they're completely just making a mockery of these companies, and it's the development brand doing it. It's not even like it's Raw or SmackDown. It's the development brand of NXT that are just completely wiping the floor with TNA wrestling and AAA. But here's what some of the wrestlers said on X from TNA about their displeasure over NXT basically just dominating their company. Mike Santana says, quote, after the week I've just had, to be honest, I just don't give a fuck. I don't care who shows up at TNA Bound for Glory as champion. Just make sure you're ready. All my pain becomes purpose. I don't plan on my daughter leaving the arena heartbroken again. You're all fucked. Also, to keep it real with everyone, I'm pretty sick and tired of all this WWE NXT has control over TNA and they can do what they want bullshit. Think it's about time we put it to rest and do something about it. Santana will challenge for the TNA title at TNA Bound for Glory. End of quote. Cedric Alexander says, quote, I came to TNA for new opportunities and to reinvent myself. I refuse to sit around and have WWE NXT talent take those opportunities away. It's time for a change. End of quote. Mustafa Ali said, quote, NXT celebrates its past but disrespects TNA's future. Many will talk about it. A few will do something about it. Consider this a warning at Shawn Michaels. End of quote. The Inspiration says, quote, sick to death of NXT running roughshed over TNA like there are no consequences. You're playing with fire, Shawn Michaels. Wow. WWE NXT really think they can do whatever they want with TNA. You got to be joking me. Hashtag NXT Homecoming. Steve Macklin says, quote, I'm not here for nostalgia. I'm fed up. NXT remembers me. I don't forget. Lines keep getting crossed and now you'll answer to me. Hashtag hold the line, end of quote. And finally, Moose said, quote, title versus title, winner takes all. Is that even possible? Santino Marella, doesn't Carlos Silva have to approve this decision? This is very frustrating. We'll be watching this match very closely. I have unfinished business with both Oba and Trick at WWE NXT Homecoming, end of quote. So, a lot of ex-WWE people that have moved and went to TNA here, not happy with what's happening. And you can say it's a work, you can say it's all part of the plan, but what they're saying is still true. You know, TNA is being booked like a joke. You had JC Jane, who fucking sucks, holding both belts. You know, what was the reason for that? No reason at all, but she was holding both titles. I'm making a mockery of it. And then you have Trick Williams. He's had the TNA title for a long time now, and they're having the TNA title now is being defended on NXT between two NXT guys, and it's like, what the fuck? What about TNA? You know, where's their main eventers? Where's their guys competing for the title? It's just an absolute joke. I want to see this happen the other way. Show me the NXT Championship on TNA. Show me a TNA guy holding the NXT Championship, defending it on TNA against another TNA guy with WWE NXT being out of the loop and being frozen out in the background. Show me that. Well, you know what? It's never going to happen. You can never show me that because this partnership, it's not a partnership. It's not 50-50. It's almost like 90-10, and that's generous. It's almost like NXT saying, we run this, you know, we're going to have all the belts. We're going to win all the big matches whenever there is like a brand, you know, fight off or whatever between two people. We're going to take all the best people that we want. We're going to have first pick on all the TNA people. And that's pretty much it. TNA, you're going to send your best main eventers to appear on NXT, while we will send fucking jobbers that people don't even know on NXT, and we're going to send them to TNA, and you can pretend that that's going to draw a rating and help your show. Ain't helping nothing. Anyway, that's it, guys. TNA is getting a bad position here. It's getting a bad return with their deal for WWE, and if I was them, I'd cancel it. I would just, yeah, I would. I'd get rid of it and just go on your own way. I think TNA, yeah, they suck, but you know what? I'd rather suck on my own than have to suck off WWE, that's for sure. Anyway, guys, that's it. Let me know your thoughts down below, but I think TNA is getting embarrassed, and we can say that it's a work from all these guys, but I do believe there's like truth in the words that they're saying, and some of them probably believe it as well. So yeah, anyway, guys, that's it. Catch you in the next one. Till then, peace.